Hello, ladies and gentlemen. My name is Amara Kazmi. I'm a lawyer by profession. So I've started these series where we can invite people who are leading in their professions, who are the CEOs, C-suite leaders, and to give you the advice, a little bit insight about their life, the struggles that they face. So in these series, we're going to have number of people who have struggled throughout their lives, have managed to go through the ups and downs, and now are in a position where they can share their professional and personal growth with you. So in this series, I'm going to invite today Mr. Richard Stewart. Richard is a distinguished and seasoned C-suite leader, coach, and advisor across multiple sectors, renowned for his exceptional ability to accelerate profit growth for investors, boards, and executive teams. With over 35 years of proven international leadership as an experienced chief operating and information officer, as well as board and executive advisor, he specializes in helping companies with the world-class leadership and business transformation in the age of AI. So let's today have the honor to have Richard Stewart in our studio. Thank you, Richard, and I welcome you that you have taken out the time to join in our session.
Thank you, Amara. Thanks for inviting me. It's a pleasure to be here.
It's always a pleasure to meet you, see you, because you have this positivity that is literally oozing out of you, and I really like it. So tell me a little bit about yourself. Who is Richard Stewart?
So grew up in the UK. I spent most of my career in the UK, most of that in London, working in corporate for large corporates, really, multiple sectors. Developed my experience while I was in London, and then 4 years ago moved to Dubai with an opportunity that presented itself.
Oh, wow, that's amazing. So because we are specifically catering this session for the CEOs, existing CEOs, and the ones who are aspiring to become CEOs. What were the struggles that you faced during your work and during your whole experience?
Where do I start with that? Lots of struggles. I think early on in your career, it's about establishing yourself, feeling like you're good enough. A lot of people have imposter syndrome, or I'm not good enough. You have to develop your experience, put yourself in difficult situations outside your comfort zone. I did a lot of that. I remember early on I was very shy. I didn't like presenting, didn't like talking in front of people. I had to force myself on a effective presentation course where I had to speak in front of people. It was scary. Really scary.
I can understand.
The more you do that, the more you practice that muscle, the stronger it gets. And then after a while, you become more comfortable. So I get a lot of those kind of experiences working my way through my career. Taking my opportunities, I think, was something I learned quite early on. I remember one project early in my career, it was 300 miles away, and they wanted people to volunteer to go on that project. And a lot of people had commitments, they couldn't do it or didn't want to do it. Mm-hmm. I was young, free, but ambitious, put my hand up, got selected, and that really helped accelerate my career. So I kind of learned early on that take the opportunities when they come up.
That's nice. And you correctly said that we have to train that muscle, because I believe you're not born with certain qualities. We're born with a few of the qualities, but then majority of the qualities we have to learn during our time. When it comes to professional growth, we have to keep on learning. So you're literally right on spot on that you put in a lot of effort to train that muscle of like presentation, to be vocal. Tell me, how did you train yourself? Like, what was the struggles that you faced, and how did you come about it, specifically in the presentation part of it, and speaking publicly or presenting or expressing yourself?
Yeah, I guess I think there's two ways for me anyway, two main ways how you learn. One is from your own experiences, which is the most valuable. You make mistakes, you fall over, things go wrong. It's painful.
Mm-hmm.
You force yourself to learn from that experience, and then you get better going forward. The other one is obviously learning from other people, which accelerates you. And I had a lot of great role models in my career. I saw senior execs who I was working with, or how they behave, and I kind of modeled that behavior, the things that were good, not the things that were bad, because nobody's perfect. So I guess that's a lot of how I kind of learned. On the presentation, I just forced myself into the situation where I had to do it. And the more you do anything, I think the easier it gets. So that's my main learning. When you're looking ahead, you're about to do something difficult. It looks really scary. But once you're through it and you look back, you think, well, why didn't I do that earlier?
Yes.
So that's the learning.
So courage, I think, is the most important thing when we are growing in our profession, that we have to, the way you just mentioned, that you took that lead, which was outside the comfort zone. And that is what was the turning point for you. So apart from courage, what other qualities do you think that people in this position of a CEO position, or in a position of leadership, should have?
Well, I mean, in many ways, it's a very lonely position, right? You are one. There's only one CEO. You're, in a unique position. I think so. So the patterns that I've noticed during my career, because obviously my going back to my background, it's technology. Mainly, I was CIO, CTO. I've done some COO work as well. I recognize that a lot of after a period of time, recognize during my career, a lot of problems are not just technical. They're actually about clarity and decision making. And then I realized that I can do a lot from the CIO technical or operations seat. That's great. There's a lot of things you can do, but I can do even more if you go up to where the CEO sits and working with a CEO, because that's where the strategy is. That's where the highest value upstream decisions are. And working on that has more impact. And really, it's all about, for me, making more impact and helping more people. That's what I'm trying to do.
Oh, that's very nice. Tell me a little bit about your entity that you started in Dubai, and it's now growing day by day. It's transforming so many companies. It's transforming so many people who are leading those companies, CEOs and all the C-suite leaders. The company name is Value Mastered, yes?
Correct,
so
yes.
Tell me a little bit about Value Mastered. How did you think of that idea, and what does it do?
So I think the journey was, I was in my corporate career. I've done a long corporate career like a lot of people. I was realizing, though, that, at some point, I felt there's got to be more I can do. There's more value I can add. There's more impact I can have. And of course, when you're in a corporate career, you've only really got one client, which is your employer. When you set up your own business, like I did, you can help many more people, many more clients, have more impact and more value. So that's kind of why I've done it. What we really do is act as a strategic thought partner for CEOs, helping them to accelerate their journey, clarify the decisions they need to make, and move faster. That's sort of executive advisory, a little bit of fractional if they need operational help, and also executive coaching if it's about them and their leadership and their personal growth, working with them. So that's what we do for a number of clients, growing those clients. And I feel like it's a much more, like I said, a much more impactful thing for me to do, particularly at this stage of my career.
Absolutely. And I would 100% agree with you that at this day and age where there is so much of technology, everything is changing rapidly. And I am so amazed at the youngsters that they're coming up with new ideas. Hence, they're opening up their own companies, but they don't have the idea how to lead. Because when that company grows, there are employees, there are people who need guidance, there are administrative work. And that's where your professional accomplishment actually comes in, your experience comes in, where you guide them that this is what works best for your company. Like, what would be the best client for you, for Richard Stewart?
Well, I think the number one thing is it's got to be somebody that wants helped. I mean, it's that old saying, you lead a horse to water, but you can't make them drink, right? You need somebody that wants help. I think if you recognize, and certainly I would advise somebody becoming a CEO or is a CEO, take external advice because it will accelerate you in your learning and your journey. So if someone wants to be helped, they want advice, they're collaborative, and they're interested in that thought partnership and that help, then that's the perfect client, really.
And you must have also come across the client that you did not wish to onboard. So what are those characteristics that you try to avoid in onboarding, like in a person or in a CEO?
Well, I mean, it's a feeling. It's not sort of a science. It's more understanding whether that person really is open to advice and realizing they don't have all the answers. I think if you realize in life that you only know such a small amount of what's possible to know, and so there's huge value in taking input from other people, that's great. But if you have the opposite, where someone thinks they know it all, that's a very difficult situation to help because they've not got to the point where they realize they need to be open. So,
Richard, now that you're successful and that you have transformed so many of people's lives, did you yourself felt defeated or depressed throughout this process? Did you feel that it is stressful to continue in that same path? Did you ever feel that?
Well, I mean, definitely had ups and downs. I think that's to be human. We've all had these ups and downs, particularly from a professional perspective. We've had difficult situations. I've had a situation where I've, been made redundant, restructure, whatever. You have to kind of pivot and you have to kind of work out.
Because that's what life is.
What's next? But often you learn the most from those experiences, and it also puts you on a better path than you were on before. And I also want to just go back and say that I think corporate life and corporate experience is hugely valuable, particularly when you're younger, to really develop your skills and experience. So I definitely would still support people doing that, depending on what they want to do. Yeah.
No, that's. I think this is part and parcel of life, and through these experiences, we learn a lot and how to navigate through tough situations, and that's what actually makes us stronger. Where we can foresee, especially if we are in a leadership position, that through our experiences we can see that we can advise the youngster on this aspect so that they do not make the mistakes that we have actually made them. So those are the struggling parts which are now over. Now,
well, they're never over.
Now, yes,
they get a bit easier.
It can be, yes. What is the 2026 mantra? Like, what is it that you want to achieve in 2026?
Well, I think with Value Master, we've got the operation set up, we've got the client service set up, we've got the platform set up. It's all there. So the brand positioning, all that's been worked on. So I think now it's about growth. It's about more clients, helping the existing clients more, and growing things. And that's what I'm looking to do. Basically, having more impact. I mean, I do believe that it's sensible to not focus on money first. You focus on adding value to others first, and the money will flow. So that's kind of the philosophy I have.
Like making a relationship. Do you agree with that? That first you have to make a relationship, a bond with the client who you're working with to basically understand him from where he's coming from.
Completely. Any new client, the first thing I do is I understand their context and where they are. I put myself in their shoes, understand where they are, what they're thinking, and then I walk them forward from that point, because that's the only way I can really help them. And it's all about relationships. I mean, I have clients that I signed up a year after I first started speaking to them because they weren't ready, but we kept the conversation going, we're nurturing the relationship, and at some point people are ready. So I think I do see any relationships I have with clients as long-term journeys where we're helping. I'm helping. So
No, that's very nice. So what is the advice that you're going to give to the existing CEO who is leading, but he or she is struggling with the workload to balance out certain things? And we're going to touch upon the topic of balancing health and other aspects of life as well. But what is the advice that you're going to give to the existing CEOs?
I think a lot of CEOs are in a kind of, they're so busy with the day-to-day business. It's like the hamster wheel of every day, every
Ask me.
daily, weekly, quarterly, annual processes, performance. It gets very, very busy.
Yes.
So I think the ability to step back, look at the bigger picture, look at longer term, look ahead with an external advisor who can kind of look from the outside in and see those things, connecting the dots, seeing the patterns, that's hugely valuable. So I would suggest any CEO to spend time stepping back, talking to others, getting a different perspective, because I think that's going to multiply your effectiveness as a CEO.
No, that's absolutely correct. I've also seen it throughout my practice as well, because when you see things from outside, you actually pinpoint the error or where the problem is actually lying. And when you are within that group, the problem is right in front of you. You cannot actually pinpoint it. And then, of course, if you cannot pinpoint the problem, you cannot resolve it. Tell me a little bit about the experience of where you resolved a client's issue, which was there, but they couldn't figure out that it was actually that issue.
Well, I mean, I've lots of experiences of that from my whole career, I guess. I mean, one that stands out to me, because obviously I have a technology background, is, I remember one profit and loss leader, a regional vice president. We had a problem. They said, the technology is a problem. We need to change the technology. And it wasn't, it was what the technology, or people's understanding of what the technology was supposed to do. So really it was the process, and it was people's roles around that process, and they were the issue. So once we straighten that out and we talk through things from a broader perspective, once we straighten those out, things started moving. So I always think in organizations, when we're looking to build, or transform, we're looking at capabilities, and capability for me is people, process, data, and technology all working together. That's what I've always focused on in my career. Often,
sorry, can you repeat that again? Because you just said it so good. Can you repeat that again?
People over focus on technology. They say, change the technology, we need new tech, right? But often that on its own, that does nothing. In order to transform an organization, you need to look at the capability you have, sales, in the marketing area, and product area, whatever, manufacturing. And that capability consists of people, so your employees and your supply chain, et cetera, your people. The process they're using, the data that's being used, and the technology that's automating that. And if you look at all of those four together, that's how you change. You need to adapt all of them to move an organization forward.
Wow, that's amazing. So you focus on those areas first, from an outsider point of view, and then you, what is your mode of operations the moment you onboard a client? So what are the steps that you actually take? I
mean, it's always context first, right? I need to know the person and understand them and who they are and their background and how they think and how they behave. That's one. And I understand their company context. Where is that company today? Where's it been? And then obviously move forward to where they want to go, what that gap is, and then try and work out with them what the next steps are. Often there's low-hanging fruit. There's obvious things that need to be done. You tend to tackle those first while you're working on the longer-term vision and plan of where they need to go. I find a lot of companies, again generalizing, but a lot of companies, there's a lot of noise and dysfunction in companies. A lot of that comes from people not being together, I think. I think a lot of companies can learn a lot from top sports teams. The way top sports teams win is they are together as one. And when if you have a company that's, a bit siloed, everyone's like trying to do their own pet projects. I mean, that's very entrepreneurial, but in a larger company particularly, there's you have to share the investment.
Yes.
You have to share the technologies to some
Unified
extent.
towards goals.
Yeah, and you need good security. So you have to have a blend of what you share and what you don't, or what's more local, and you have to get that right.
No, that's very nice. So, and this is where your professional services come in, where you highlight these things and then you pinpoint where it can get more better, so that the whole unity is there, and together, from CEO till the level of employees or any other administrative people, they together work and then they achieve those goals.
Yes, I mean, I'm looking at things through different lenses. I mean, I think the highest lever in any organization is the strategy and the leadership behavior, right? So you're looking at, have they got the right strategy, and you're thinking that through them. But then the leadership, is the leadership team being effective? Are they working together? They have the right skills and experience, because the tone is set from the top, the culture tone is set from the top, the rest of the organization,
Just follows.
subconsciously follows what
Yes.
happens. So you have to, if you got those things right, then you can start to move. And then of course it's about execution behind of the strategy. So all those things I'm looking at.
That's very nice. Richard, when I started my own company, I had no prior experience of running a company, and I just did whatever was required. And over the period of time, I learned what to do, what not to do. The reason why I'm saying this is that I want to ask, what will be the advice for the upcoming CEOs who want to start off their business, and if they want to come to you from the very beginning? So what will be your advice to them?
Well, probably lots of things, but I mean, I think the most immediate thing is, don't think it's clever to do it all yourself. At the end of the day, most people in this situation want to optimize for speed. They want to go as fast as possible. So you want to take advice from,
Experts.
relevant external people who have been there before. And, well, how does that help? Well, it's really, and what I see is that it's pattern recognition. A lot of problems businesses have, then none of them are new. They've always been there with other companies. If you understand those patterns and you see those as a pattern and as a common thing that reoccurs, then obviously you can help the CEO understand that and navigate through it. So get some advice, get a good external advisory board or advisors around you, non-exec board, whatever position you're in. Build that and listen and execute as fast as you can.
Wow, I wish somebody was there when I was about to start my business to guide me and assist me, because I think I did spend a lot of time worrying about things which now I think could have been handled by somebody else, some other expert. But you see, when you start off a business, you have no experience. You have experience in your services that you're rendering, but to monitor that business or to run that business where there is now the administrative task, where you have to manage the employees, where you have to take care of other areas as well. So you don't have that sort of experience. And that is where you spend, I think, a lot of time wasting, I would say, and you do learn from your own experience, but then a lot of time has been wasted. When you could have achieved something better, more efficiently.
It's natural to focus on our strengths and what we feel comfortable
Yes.
doing. I mean, for me, for example, I'm very comfortable on the operational side of a business because that's what I grew up my whole career doing. But then, I had to learn sales and marketing, which was new for me, and that was outside my comfort zone. Still is to some extent, but I've gradually learned and I've developed that. But that wasn't natural at all. So I think you have to force yourself as a CEO to say, where do I should be allocating my time? Most businesses are doing three things. They are servicing the clients, right? The existing clients they've got, providing the products and services. They are developing new clients, business development, and they are working on the business itself. How do you operate the business? What's the future, etc. So I think you have to work out where you need to spend your time between those three based on your context. Yeah.
I think back back then I did not have you, but I'm super happy that I have you now, that I can just call you up.
Anytime.
Yes,
Anytime.
talk about what are the struggles that I am facing as a CEO running cross-border jurisdiction work, because that's a lot. There are like different time zones that I have to work with. And then, of course, with speeding technology, with fast-paced requirements that we have to fulfill, because we are then the brand of our company. So I think there's so many things that we need to tackle, where we need experts to come in and give us the advice, to give us the strategy of how we can effectively work. So the first conversation I've had with you, and that's how we quickly clicked, and that was on health. Because I was also struggling through different health issues, and we quickly touched upon the issues, personal health issues. And I remember you also said that this is very important for a CEO leader position to focus on their health, that how your company, Value Mastered, and you yourself as leading that company, incorporate that health component, which is very essential for a CEO, in your strategies, in your advice.
Well, I mean, it's part of the advisory, or you could call it executive coaching with a CEO, is to work on all aspects, including their personal health and whatever, obviously depending on how open they are to that. But what I realized going through my life, I see a lot of people get into their 70s and 80s having serious health issues, and I definitely do not want to be in that situation. Having had a few minor symptoms a few years ago, I kind of started to change my philosophy. So my philosophy now is I'm a athlete, like a corporate athlete. That's how I'm thinking, right? Obviously, I'm not
corporate athlete.
That's I'm distinguishing from obviously I'm not a 100-meter runner or anything, but a corporate athlete. And if you think you're a corporate athlete, then all your behaviors will be congruent with that, all your subconscious behaviors. So you will naturally eat a healthy diet, you will get good sleep, you will exercise. All the things that we know are good for us will be natural to you, because your identity is you're a corporate athlete. And why are you a corporate athlete? Corporate athlete because you know that if you're going to survive and thrive in this modern world as a CEO or executive, you really need to be at that level. And the other thing I want to touch on is, we're talking about today, but tomorrow, we're entering the age of AI. The whole business landscape is going to evolve, or perhaps even revolution. And we really need to be ready for that, because I think that's going to be hugely disruptive to a lot of companies over a period of time. It's not going to happen overnight, but over, say, the next 5 years. I think you need to be very fit as a CEO and executive team to lead through that.
You look fit right now, but were you able to balance the personal life, health, business throughout your professional career?
Oh, definitely not. I mean, I think in my corporate career, at points I really struggle with that. A lot of people are sitting in corporate careers under huge stress, working very long hours, very difficult situations. Companies have cut costs. There's less people to do the same work or more. They've got young families. It's very, very difficult. I've been through that. I think finding balance in your life is very important if you want to avoid problems and you want to be successful. So health is wealth. It's the most important thing you focus on. You need to focus on. It's the foundation of everything. So I think that's absolutely critical.
Yeah, because you see, when we are in a leadership position, we are just focusing on making our company great, taking care of all the clients. We're marketing as well. And we somehow, forget how to take care of ourselves, take the time out. And we all have struggles. As you just mentioned, you have also struggled. So what is the advice that you're going to give to now the viewers who are watching us, that how we can, during those time periods, how best we can do to balance it out? Because there is no balancing. You're probably good at one thing in one day and probably you're lacking in the other area. So how do you manage that? And how should you manage that?
Well, I think you have to personally get very clear on what you value and what's important to you. I mean, in a corporate role, there's always going to be more work. So however much work you do, there's always more work. What you need to start with is the highest value thing, which is the highest value is who am I? How am I being healthy? How am I behaving? And balancing my personal health and situation, and then my family, and then go into my work. So if you put that first, then as an anchor in the middle, then the work kind of fits in around that rather than the work dominating your personal health.
Wow, I would like to have another session with you on this specifically, because there's a lot to talk about, but we have to wind up today. Before we end this, any advice that you have for people who are listening to you, and that why they should hire an expert to do the job other than doing it themselves, no matter how good or perfect they think that they are in that area?
I mean, ultimately, it's all about speed. If you want to go faster, then you need to know more. And the more people you have around you with expertise, with experience, the more you'll know, the more you'll be able to work out what to do and what not to do. I mean, we haven't even talked about the fact that a lot of success in business is deciding what you don't do and not doing that, getting rid of the distractions. So focus, going faster, that's through talking to external advisors and people that can help you to get really, really clear on your direction so you can go faster.
If you can just summarize it, because you just beautifully said that unity towards one goal is very important.
Well, I think as a CEO, if you have in your head that you need to be really clear, so clarity is the first bullet point, really clear who you are, where you're going, where you are now and where you're going. Your decision making needs to be really good. A lot of people make bad decisions and that leads them down the wrong path. So decision making is absolutely critical. And then you need to have the right people around you, right? Whether that's your own team in your business or your external advisors, having the right people around you can really accelerate you.
Perfect. That's amazing. And I absolutely agree with you when you say that we have to have right people around us. And I think this is 2026. By this time, everybody know that having the right people, having the good connection around you is so essential for your growth, for your own mental peace, that nothing in the world can actually, beat that or, equals to having good, relying people, positive people working around you who actually find out positivity in you. And I'm super happy to have you. You're a very positive person. And that was the first thing that actually clicked for me to able to speak to you. You were an easy person to be able to have a conversation. I thank you for taking out the time to come into the show and shared about your life, about your experience, and especially Value Mastered. And I wish Value Mastered a very prosperous 2026 and more years to come. So thank you so much, Richard, for your amazing insights.
Thank you, Amara, and wishing you an amazing 2026
Thank you. So this is the end of the first session, and we'll bring in more sessions, more people who have more valuable insights to share, their own struggles, their own life, what are the struggles that they themselves faced. So stay tuned and stay with us, subscribe our channel, and we're going to bring you more influential people who can influence not only your life, but help you in excelling your company or your business. Thank you.